Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. So, there is like a lot going on in the world, and a lot of it is difficult, and a great deal of it is very, very frightening. So, I thought today I would just direct channel spirit because I think it would be helpful for all of us if we had some guidance in terms of the fear and the anxiety we're feeling, and try to gain some perspective so that perhaps we can just view it differently, see it in a slightly different light that may perhaps help in us simply becoming a little bit more comfortable with it. Maybe, I don't know that that's quite the right word, but so that it's not quite so anxiety producing and so really difficult to process. And before I do that, I just want to take a quick moment to thank absolutely every single subscriber and every single viewer to this channel. I love the community that is growing here at the Insights channel. And I thank you. I thank you for your comments, the subscriptions, the thumbs up, all of it. You guys are brilliant, and I'm just incredibly grateful for the contribution you make each and every time that you join into the Insights channel here at Soulprint. So let's just get started, shall we? I think we're going to ask Spirit to tell us in this time of global uncertainty, how do we handle the fear? How do we handle the anxiety? So this is a little different than a deep trance because I'm conscious when I do this. It's a little bit lighter to do. So just give me a second so that I can connect with Spirit, and then we're going to see what they have to say. It is so wonderful to talk to you, have the opportunity to communicate with you during this period of time that is so pivotal and yet instrumental in creating many, many challenges for the planet on which you live and the civilization in which you have. It is necessary to remember, again, that fear is the opposite of love. When we fear, almost invariably, it is because we, in some ways, actually feel the love is threatened somehow. So to understand the range of the fear that is created during this current crisis that is going on your planet, part of what is creating the anxiety of the fear is the sort of intuitive or instinctive understanding or knowledge that things are going to change. It's just that simple. They're not going to go back to the way they were. And during this time of fear and moments of clarity, we strongly encourage each and every one of you to look at the recent past very objectively and do not romanticize it. Do not make it this wonderful thing that was before this horrible, horrible pandemic, because it wasn't wonderful. There was a lot of things that were not right and a lot of things that were completely out of balance. And so it is really important to understand that this gives you, and indeed the civilization upon the earth, the opportunity to simply reevaluate and really start to think about and figure out where it is you would like your priorities to become priorities, what it is you want to become prioritized, and frankly, what it is that it's really okay to let go of. The fear also derives simply from that sense of personal loss. So whether it is loss in terms of freedom, loss in terms of income. In many cases, literally loss in terms of the sustenance that keeps you going, whether that is food or water, those nutrients and minerals of food that you require, and the loss of that happening as a result of all kinds of things. Certainly, there is going to be a loss in terms of trade moving from one country to another. There's also going to be loss in terms of what is produced in each and every country. As far as, never mind, like starting with the basics of food. Okay, so what it is that your farmers, your vegetable producers, your fruit producers, what it is that they are actually going to be able to produce and handle during the growing season. And the other sense of loss, of course, comes from the day-to-day things, the stuff that makes up your life, whether that is, clothing or vitamins or any one of the multitude of things that as human beings you have deemed important and necessary for you to move forward in a comfortable way. Yet it's part of how you humans actually judge your quality of life, by the amount of and the quality of the stuff in your life. And so there is a concern, because there's obviously going to be a realignment of exactly how that works, and how that is produced, and how that actually gets to market, and then by extension how it gets to you and your lives. There, of course, is also a sense of loss because of financial instability, and that, of course, creates a great deal of anxiety, because in a world such as yours, where you have placed money and assets truly above all else, the lack of that, or the loss of some of that, really is quite it's very easy for that to produce a real sense of instability or fear, because that is part of how you view your sense of safety and security. There is the loss of freedom. There is the loss of living your life kind of the way that you wanted to live your life. You just can't come and go right now the way you used to, even a handful of weeks ago. You are no longer, you really don't have the freedom anymore to just kind of do your own thing, because so many people's lives are hanging in the balance. They are in jeopardy. And so there again, there is that sense of restriction. And when that happens, it creates a sense of fear, because you feel as if you are sort of losing your autonomy, your ability to control your own life, your own being, your own direction forward. Sometimes it is a fear because you are disconnected from people that you love and care about and typically have very close to you. There, of course, is also a great deal of fear running through the minds of all of those people that are your first responders, your essential services. And this is from people in hospitals, whether they be doctors, technicians, or cleaning staff, or cooks. This has to do with the people who run your utilities in your communities, lights, power, heat, etc. They are considered essential services, as are, your newspaper people in many countries, your bus drivers. I mean, the range is extensive and full. And of course, those people are not only very busy trying to keep their communities going in the most healthy environment that they can, but those people are also very much worried about their own exposure, and by extension the exposure to their families. And so not only are they worried, but of course their own families are worried. And so all of these things create this increased, ramped up energy of fear. So as a first step, it is very important to actually acknowledge the fear. feel the fear, because very often what happens kind of in the world you live in, where there has been this real emphasis of spiritual growth and staying centered and being, understanding your soul and your soul's purpose, for which, make no mistake, the spirit world assists you and in fact commends you for the forward momentum that is being created by the attention and focus on that. There also, though, however, has become a little bit of sort of a misunderstanding about feelings, in terms of really not allowing yourself to feel or entertain any lower vibrations, think any negative thoughts. And that is not particularly helpful. It is far more beneficial to feel the feeling, almost take a moment to look at the worst case scenario or two, but then understand that that is actually not in fact the current reality you are in. And so you have looked at it, you have felt the fear, the worry, anxiety, and it is now time to pull yourself back into a state of where you are right now in this moment, and what you can do positively to move the moment forward in a way that is more beneficial than staying in that place of anxiety, fear, and worry. So as your world has literally slowed right down and become still, this really is the perfect opportunity to reflect, go inward, be still. It is the perfect opportunity to evaluate that which is important. In fact, by the very nature of what you are experiencing in this point in time, that is very helpful to actually really look at what it is and who it is that you consider important. It is also the perfect opportunity for you to figure out if what you think is important is actually your highest truth. Is it conditioning? Is it habit? Or is it in fact your highest truth and desire? So this time of stillness can be very, very helpful, not only in terms of you finding your own center, but certainly in terms of you then figuring out what it is you can do to contribute in a way that is beneficial outside of your immediate self or your immediate circle. And many, many of you, we understand through the Soulprint family, are working very hard at maintaining your high vibrational energy, and in fact sending that high vibrational energy out to the planet, the peoples, the animals, the earth, the sky, and for which you are not only commended but incredibly there is a sense of incredible pride as we watch over you, and we see that you have reached deep into the essence of yourself, and you are willingly and lovingly sharing those positive energies, hopes, thoughts, and prayers into the world around you. You cannot, in fact, actually understand the magnitude of what you are doing and accomplishing with this work. But you can trust that from where we sit and where we watch, it is having a profound, profound effect. And so continue in those endeavors, continue to send out those positive thoughts and energies. And if there are physical things that you can do, whether that is, donating to charities or helping with a charity, there are so many ways you humans are particularly brilliant at reaching out and helping others. It is indeed one of the really incredible aspects of the human condition that by and large you are very, very motivated to lift up those who are in need. It is really a singularly lovely and encompassing trait that is seen on the earth. Now, that is not to ignore the fact that there are some on the planet who actually live at a very different and much lower vibration on the scale, and their thoughts and attitudes and deeds are in fact incredibly selfish. But by and large, as a planet, there really is that desire to lift up those in need. And that really is one of the lovely aspects of the civilization that has been created on the planet Earth for your enjoyment, your growth, and your many experiences. So part of it is understanding that fear actually plays a fundamental purpose. So ignoring it or disregarding it really is not particularly helpful or beneficial. It is far better to acknowledge the fear, figure out what scares you, question a couple of things. If that really is your actual reality, if you are panicking about a worst case scenario, or in fact, if you are out of habit fearing something that in the final analysis really does not have that much significance or importance to you at this time in your being. Once you have gone through that process and sort of figured out which category you would like to put the fear into, where it actually really falls within the spectrum, it is then that you have a much better ability to move forward from the fear into a feeling that is benign or neutral. From there, you move into cautiously hopeful. And from there, you move into probable. We can make this work. We can make this happen. We can do this. And ultimately, to a place of sharing, caring, and love. So while the fear is hard to process and hard to deal with, do not discount it. It serves a very valuable purpose and function. The trick, however, is to ensure that you do not get trapped in the fear. Just as it is not helpful to get trapped in any other place or state of mind. So it is the trapping, it is the getting trapped that is part of what makes the human existence difficult at times, because there seems to be this dynamic in which you get trapped but are really unable to recognize the trap until you were sort of so deeply immersed in it that it then becomes much harder to sort of pull yourself and lift yourself up and out of it. But if you go into the process, if you mentally acknowledge, okay, I'm feeling scared right now, I want to take a look actually at what I'm feeling scared about. And once I understand what that is, I am going to immediately move forward into a benign, a neutral thought, and then from there I am going to move forward into the more positive end of the emotional spectrum, understanding that that is really where the good work and the positive energy resides, and that I can utilize that for the continued growth and evolution, not only of my soul, but to move away from those energies that I deem fearful. The last thing that we would like to just mention is this. A great deal of you are fearful not of what you may lose, but very much of who you may lose. And we would like to remind you ever so gently and with brilliant love, compassion, and understanding that none of us really has clarity on another's role or path in life. And that some are going to choose this moment to simply leave the earth. They've done what they wanted to do, and they are choosing this as a way to simply return home. Some are stepping up very heroically, although you don't see that or understand that at your level of existence or experience, that they have literally sacrificed or surrendered themselves for the greater good. So that through their experience of illness and even unfortunately, as you see it, death, that there is knowledge that is being gained that will then help more. And a final note, there is an old saying that when a baby is born, the earth rejoices and the angels cry. And when a soul leaves the earth, the people of the earth cry, but the angels rejoice to welcome that soul home. So understand that for what you regard often as a tragedy is indeed a blessing in the grander scheme of things. And because you are not only not privy to your own life road or your soul print, you certainly are not privy to another's. And even those who appear to fight to stay on the earth as they are pushing through, for example, a really debilitating illness, even they have chosen to learn something in the process of the illness and the struggle. But ultimately, for that soul, it is a period of growth and expansion. And when they return home, it is always to a great sense of joy, celebration, and a real welcoming and enveloping them back into that which is in fact real versus the illusionary state that you must believe and buy into in order to have the experiences you choose and desire to have upon your planet. We thank you very, very much for this opportunity. And in closing, we would like to give you sort of a tool or a suggestion that you can use. Perhaps it would be helpful to visualize your fears as either a a ball of black or dark energy. Perhaps you even want to make it into a monster of some kind, or some sort of figure. And once you have sort of done that and you have placed your fears within this vessel or container, however it is you wish to picture it, you can then start seeing the dark black and gray and muddy brown colors becoming lighter and lighter and lighter until, they become white and dove gray and a very gentle beige or off-white. You can actually work visually and mentally to lighten your own fear simply by choosing to see it in your mind's eye or in your imagination. Again, we are very, very grateful for the opportunity to have shared this information and guidance with you. And we encourage you to continue the amazing and brilliant work that each and every one of you is doing as you move along through your life journey and indeed, without question, accomplish your soul print. Whether you have an awareness of it or not, you can believe and trust that is indeed and in fact what you are doing. We surround you with divine love, our blessings, our support, and please do not forget to remember that We are always available to you and always here for you. You simply need to reach out, ask, go still, and listen. These indeed are challenging times, but know that you are surrounded with divine love. This is all. Okay? Well, that was interesting. I'm aware of the fact that the speech pattern of that was actually quite quick. It felt very much like they were sort of almost talking quickly because they wanted to compress everything they wanted to say sort of within a reasonable time frame. So I would encourage you to probably go back and listen to that a time or two. This reading, if you will be transcribed into my notes and become part of the copyrighted Soulprint material. Okay, until next time, stand in your strength and stand in your light. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.